Chris barely glanced at the book before he was shoved off the platform by the man behind him, just as a high-speed train approached. At the moment when Chris was about to be struck and killed, the world seemed to freeze. Everything around him slowed down 1,000 times in his eyes. But at that very moment, the pigeons surrounding him suddenly began speaking. They introduced themselves as gods and explained that they had frozen the world to give Chris a chance at rebirth, intending to awaken his faith through a harsh environment. The god told Chris that if he died again, he wouldn't be able to come back to life. When Chris opened his eyes, he found himself being fed by a stranger. Looking at a nearby mirror, he realized that he had turned into a baby girl. Moreover, she was in a poor orphanage. To make matters worse, the country was in the midst of a war, which was a highly desperate situation for a young girl. However, in this world, magic existed, and it changed everything. During a routine checkup, Chris was discovered to have magical powers. People with magical abilities could choose to join the army and become officers. Soon, Chris passed the entrance exam for the Officer Academy. At just 8 years old, she was much shorter than the others, but this didn't stop her from working hard. She studied magic knowledge every day. Thanks to her modern knowledge, Chris learned to control magic in less than a year. She could fly freely in the air and demonstrated incredible abilities. Due to her outstanding performance, Chris was appointed as a trainer and began instructing a group of adults. However, many of the soldiers refused to obey Chris's orders, but Chris didn't mind and continued with the new recruits' training. As a trainer, Chris decided to teach these soldiers a lesson. While Chris was giving instructions, one of the recruits spoke out without permission. The next second, he got a first-hand experience of Chris's power. She blasted all the disobedient soldiers into the air. When she saw that the man was still standing, she grabbed a gun and quickly shot him down. Chris was ready to execute the disrespectful recruit, but her superior stopped her. This infuriated Chris.